I'm finally done. Look at this. Oh my goodness. Hi and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to season 2 on this channel. I'm super excited. We're already over 6,000 people and I want to thank you for that. It is really great and I really love the comments and the encouragement you gave me. It helped me so much to push through to finish all my videos of season 1 and to continue this season. So thank you very much to all of you. I'm right now in Croatia, more specifically in Pula, Croatia, and this will be somehow the point where I start my second season. I started last week. I drove here from Munich. I gave up my apartment. I don't have a place to live anymore, and so I had to leave Germany, especially because it's just too expensive to stay for a longer time. And I thought, well, I will go to this beautiful place where I can stay and do a few things, catch up with the videos. So that's why we're here in Croatia. But first of all, I was asked quite frequently questions about myself, and yeah, I never really introduced myself properly, so we will do that now. If we come to the basics, and the thing that caused a lot of confusion on this channel is actually my first name. As you know, the channel is called Travel with Evora. So why Evora and why are some people calling me Nicole? Well, the reason is pretty simple. Both are my first names. Both are on my passport. They're legally my first names. And I always used Evora when I did anything online. So that was always my online name. But if you meet me in real life, most likely I will tell you my name is Nicole. But I always liked Evora that much, so I wanted it to be part of my life and I decided to use it online. So that's why you will find two first names, but don't worry, they're both absolutely right and absolutely okay. I am 34 years old, from Germany. I'm from Munich, to be more specific, so in wonderful Bavaria, because a lot of people wondered, why did you start your first season in France? And I will come to that in a few minutes. This is like bird wonderland here. I'm a bit distracted. Look at this. Do you see that? Oh damn it, they're too fast. But yeah. Amazing. So another question was what my job is and if video creating is my job or part of my job, or if I learned that. And I have to say no. I never did anything with video creating, cutting, filming or anything in this direction, so this is completely new for me. The drone flying and everything else, I just started it from zero. But what was my job? Well, I actually was in the German army. I think in a few videos I mentioned it before. I was a soldier for 13 years in the German army and I worked in maintenance. I'm a mechanic for trucks and tanks, especially for the hydraulic systems. That was my job in the army, and I think this is kind of a dead end. This is the road. I don't want to go to the road. I have no idea where I am. Just walking through the woods. But we want to go to the ocean, which is down there, so that's where we're going now. So back in 2021, I was deployed on a mission in Mali, Africa, as chief of maintenance. And this was actually the first time for me to be on the African continent, to leave Europe. Ever. So that was also the point where I decided, okay, I have to see more of this world, because I was driving through Bamako, which is the capital city of Mali, and that is such a difference. The city is so hectic, it's so full. In the night it turns into such a crowded place that is crazy. If you stay in one place your whole life, you kind of get so comfortable in your typical world that you're not open for anything else. If you see my first season, you know I'm very German actually. I stick to rules everywhere, and I think it's good for me personally to see that is an alternative way to see that you can actually solve things, you can actually do things in many other ways. So yeah, I'm a bit lost. I thought I would reach the ocean, but I should be close actually. Like, there are actually people that live their whole life in a completely different reality than I do. And that is so interesting for me. And I wanted to see that. I wanted to travel, and I wanted to see the world. So yeah, back then in 2021, I decided I have to see the world. I'm really lucky, I have to say, because I was a soldier for 13 years and I applied up front for 13 years. So I never quit my job. In Germany, you just apply for a certain amount of time and then you drop out. And that happened for me after 13 years. So when I left the army in 2023, I actually received money to get an education to get back into the normal work life. And that's a pretty good system in Germany. So if you leave after a certain amount of time, you still receive money to go to school or do whatever you want to do in your after soldier life. So could you please shut up? This is too loud. You're louder than I am. So in my case, I actually started my bachelor degree in 2017. I did this degree part-time in the evening and on the weekends, and I finished it in 2022. So now you know, okay, she left the army at the end of 23, but she already finished her bachelor degree in 22. So I did this whole degree part-time next to work. That is one of the reasons I still have time left now to travel. Not because I'm just lazy and I don't do anything, but because I already did my whole education part-time. So because I was still in the army back then, it was 2022, and I finished my bachelor degree, I was like, okay, let's do a master's degree. And so I did. I applied for a master's degree, so this was also part-time. And I studied again in the evenings. And when I left the army finally in 23, I saw that they offer at the university a double degree program. So again, something I applied for to study 8 months in France. That is also the reason why my trip of the first season starts in France. So I was lucky, I got the spot for France, and I was able to study in France, do my double degree. So when I finally someday receive all my certificates, I will have 2 master degrees. But that doesn't matter now. So as you can see, and as I said, I studied MBA in engineering in my master degree. It has nothing to do with video cutting or video editing or filming or anything filmmaking stuff. And in my bachelor degree, I studied electrical engineering, so it's also very far away. But why could I travel for so long when I still had to finish my master degree? Well, that's pretty easy. I studied 2 semesters in France, and the semesters have different times than the one in Germany. And when I finished in France, it was mid-April 24, and the semester start in Germany is 1st March. So I decided, well, it doesn't really make sense to return to Germany into a, like, let's say half semester. So I couldn't get any courses anymore anyway. And I decided, okay, then let's do my Europe trip to prepare for my world trip. Because I actually never traveled before. I had this dream of a world tour, but I never traveled, and I thought this is not the best starting point. I should at least have a little bit of experience. So I thought, why not go on this Europe tour? I will be still in Europe while I'm still a European student. So this is kind of more or less important. I just don't want to be too far away from that. And I can see if that is really for me. That's quite slippery. And I can see if that is for me, if that is the right thing, if I want to do that. Finally, we see the ocean. Look at this. Isn't that gorgeous? I love it. They have these really nice training parks here. So, as I mentioned several times, I still had to finish my master thesis itself, because when I did my tour in 2024, I finished all my classes of the double degree and all the classes in Munich, but I still had to do the master thesis. Many people ask me what the topic of my master thesis is. Now I handed it in, it's all done, but the topic is very boring actually. I wrote about methanol synthesis, and I actually did a simulation in a program which looks at chemical reactions and yeah, something like that. So it's not very very exciting. So for most of the people it's like, okay. But yeah, now you know why I want to travel the world, how I ended up with this dream, what my background is, what job I had and what I learned. But that's enough about me. If you have any further questions, just let me know in the comments. But what's happening next? Well, the journey begins in Europe, heading east through Romania, Greece and Turkey, crossing into Asia. The route leads towards the Middle East, then through India and Nepal and further south. Whether visas and import regulations will allow it remains to be seen. But if everything works out, the goal is to reach Australia, maybe even New Zealand. The dream doesn't end there though. One day the motorcycle will hopefully cross the ocean to South America, with the aim to ride all the way up to Alaska. And eventually explore the African continent as a final chapter. I will go as far as I can go. So we know you have to keep in mind some political situations, as we just saw between Pakistan and India, and of course there are several countries like Myanmar, for example, where you can't travel through at the moment. As far as I saw, I only get like sometimes 30-day visa, or I'm not allowed to go through a country as a transit. I'm not too sure yet how to solve these problems, but yeah, we will try to go as far as possible and find a way to travel the whole world. In the next video I will finally show you my motorbike, which I chose for this adventure, and with all the things I changed on the bike. So if you don't want to miss that, hit the follow button and see you for the next episode. Bye!